Hi, my name is Aaron Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and motivational speaker. It's review day! Today I'm reviewing the Yeti Thermoses, or what's called the Ramblers. Yeti Ramblers. What do you think of them? When you look online, you go into the store, they're ridiculously expensive. But are they worth it? And that's why you're here today, reviewing this guy. It's marked on the bottom there somewhere. Yeah, it says 26 ounces. Just about that's 700, so it's 3/4 of a liter. This is an 18 ounce little guy. Case in point, I've used these on high mountains, super cold places, Denali, Mount Elbrus in Russia, freezing cold at night. Highly recommended. Now, full disclosure, I am not sponsored by Yeti. They do not know me. I would love to speak for them as a motivational speaker, but they don't know me, so I don't get any kickbacks from Yeti saying, oh, they're great. All I do is review products that I like and tell you about them, give you the plus and the minuses. So this was my very first Yeti product, and living in Jackson Hole, I don't know how many people were carrying them around. It was just crazy. Is that proper English? How many people were carrying them around? I think so. That would be embarrassing since I'm an author. But, but I mean, it seemed like Yeti kind of rhymes with yuppie. And you see a lot of people walking around. Eh, boy. Okay, so just how good are they? So you can read the reviews online. And in fact, hang on. Let me get my other thermos. My Japanese one. Zoji Rushi. I've used this in very cold places, and I love this thing too. The Zoji Rushi is very good. I did have the little ice thing, or freeze up with ice one time, but it's very, very good. It's a little bit large for me to carry around, so I was looking for something smaller, so I went with this Yeti Rambler. You can see how much smaller it is compared to a traditional size thermos. Now the Yeti doesn't have anything slip, flip, sticky, whatever with a lid. It is simply a screw down lid with some sort of rubber seal deal so you can't spill your boiling water. I used this on Mount Elbrus starting really early in the morning. I think I got up at 3 o'clock. It was freezing, of course, and put it in my backpack, started hiking up towards the summit. I didn't drink out of this thing. See, I get the boiling water in there just after 3 o'clock. I didn't drink out of this thing until we got first light at 7 o'clock. And I sipped it and it was still really warm. The water in my Nalgene had started to freeze, and this thing kept it warm, so I definitely loved it. I wish I would have fully boiling water to put in there, but it was so cold at the Russian base camp that's just the way it works. But it was so nice to be able to sip some warm water while I'm sitting there freezing, like, and putting on my jacket. So did this work out for me? Absolutely. So I decided that for my Denali expedition, I want to go big. I'm going to get basically almost a full liter, 26 ounces here. I keep looking on the bottom for the marking so I don't get the numbers right. So this is 18. This is 26. I'm going to carry this as one of my water bottles. Yes, it's really heavy compared to an Nalgene. I mean, it's steel, of course. But believe me, when you're out in some freezing place on a high mountain, like, man, and you drink some warm water, it just totally changes your life. Just a point of recommendation, what I do is, instead of putting tea into my thermos when I'm marching around on mountains or whatever, because it makes me have to go, right. Instead, when I'm on the mountains, I bring honey with me, usually in little packets, not in a big old jar. And I put maybe a spoonful in there. Just a word of warning, if you're a diabetic, don't just pour the honey in there. Just a word of warning, you're liable for you. But instead of using tea, I put the honey in there, stir it up, and man, that just a little bit of sugar in that warm water, all the difference in the world. So let's check this thing out. Does it spill and does it leak? No, absolutely not. I have seen online where Chinese You say that 3 times as fast. Chinese knockoffs have come onto the market, so definitely get home, test it, bang it a little bit, make sure the steel doesn't break. I've had no problems with mine. I bought it at the store. Just try it. I'm going to put a link below to Amazon to check it out. And while you're checking out that link, hit that little down arrow on the right-hand side of your screen to see the extra information. There's a link to Amazon, but also hit subscribe. And that way you can get the latest updates on my channel. So I've put boiling or pretty close to boiling hot water in here some time ago. So let's open it. Urgh. Now this thing seals pretty tight, but it's nice. It's got a huge lid, by the way. I can put 3 fingers in there. You don't have to hold it like that. It's very annoying. It's very man size, or I guess woman size, maybe 4 fingers, but I'm a man, so that's what I got to do. And you can grip and twist it open. And let's see if it's still steaming. Ready? Ooh, can you see the steam? I don't know. Well, trust me, it's steaming. So yes, it definitely works. So the whole concept, and I don't want to tilt this over because it's still pretty boiling hot water. Let's take a look in there. There you go. Cool. So the whole concept of these Yetis is that they're standard air insulated, double lined. I've seen copper insulated, all sorts of things. And I'm not swearing that the Yeti is the only solution, because my Zojiruchi, I love this thing too. Used it to sub-zero temperatures. It works great. But I've gone to these because there's really nothing to go wrong. You literally just, oops, just don't drop the lid. Screw it down, seal it, closed, and you're done. The lids are interchangeable on the 26 ounce as well. Boom, boom, just like that. So one of the things about these is that they're very simple. There's really nothing to go wrong. I mean, if you get some ice on the threads, I would definitely recommend just maybe getting your jacket and rubbing off the ice. This does have a pretty good rubber seal on here. So me rubbing on there, of course, coated in fuzz, and now I get to drink fuzz. Ugh. Also, when you do get these products, make sure they say Yeti. They're not cheap Chinese knockoffs. Nothing against the Chinese, but for the tumbler edition, I've read people on Amazon saying it wasn't a true Yeti lid. It was just some cheap knockoff. That means you got a fake fake Yeti. Sorry, I'm just late doing videos here. Send it back. Even though it says Yeti, if it has a cheap non-Yeti lid, you got a knockoff. Just send it back to Amazon. Take it back. You'll not have no problems. So the whole idea, just word of warning, there's a lot of knockoff stuff on Amazon, like SD cards. It's pretty crazy. So just a word of warning, watch out for that. So the whole concept of these, and one of the selling points of Yeti, is that when you drink out of it, you don't get your nose on the mug. Instead, now I've got a big nose. See how big my nose is? Yeah, exactly. So the whole concept is that when you drink out of this thing, your nose isn't on here or banging into it, which is really gross. Their whole theory is to go for the wide mouth sort of activity, which is really nice, because when you've got awkward gloves and you've got climbing mountaineering gloves and you're trying to unscrew this thing, when you've got really fine control with my mountaineering gloves, I can grab this and generally I can unscrew this. But to control this thing, I got to kind of push it down. It's a little bit hard. My Stanley, the little snappy guy, it's frozen before. This guy's pretty good, but it's got extra stuff that could potentially go wrong. And I've had it go wrong and freeze up. Is this still pretty good? Yeah, I mean, this is backpacked with me. It's taken a beating, but I've converted over to the Yeti simply because I've had less trouble. The only trouble I do have is when you put that water in there and it cools down a bit, that air inside vacuum seals a bit, which is really good. But it makes the lid actually a little bit tougher to get off. So, you know, with your gloves, you're going to have to grip it a little bit. Boom. So I'm going to seal that up, and we'll listen to that hiss again. So one of the challenges I have had is if you've got very slippery gloves, this can actually be a little bit hard to hold on to or difficult to hold on to. But this big old handle, I've had to just kind of grip it there and turn it. So if you want a really good seal, that means it's going to have to be sealed, and it's going to be a little tight because of that rubber seal. How many times can I say seal? So that is definitely one of the disadvantages with every thermos design, and that is where, as long as this doesn't freeze up, the little slippy guy where you can pour is definitely much better. Now, if you're with friends and you're sharing, like a Paul Podell, I ski with him, he's in Jackson Hole, he's a great guy, but he always brings a thermos and he brings some cups so everybody can have some tea. He's not drinking out of his mug. So if you need to go communal, just remember you got to bring cups, because nobody probably wants to kiss you except for your loved ones. So just be aware that this does not pour very easy, because it's just a wide mouth lid. These things are interchangeable. So if you do need to pour this out, it can dribble down a bit. That is a consideration. So this is primarily designed for drinking, but if you pour it pretty quick, it's not too bad. It's something to watch out for. So if you do a lot of cup sharing and everything, this may not be the best option for you, but for general use, boy, it's hard to beat. I definitely love my Yeti. And the threads, let's see. There we go. Get the threads going. They're good and big, so no problem there. Highly recommended. Love it. And I was going to drink out of this, but I burn my tongue every freaking time I do that. I don't want to burn my tongue on the video. Okay, listen. Okay, so, maybe I'll burn my tongue just for you. Whew. Woo. Okay. Okay. Too hot yet, so I've got to let this steam out. Yeah, that's right. It's still too hot for me. Steams out. A little bit of water traditionally does get stuck on the lid, so that is a bit annoying, dripping. So lid style, okay, that's your trade. But I'm gonna let this sit here and cool down for like an hour so it becomes drinkable. But highly recommended. Love these things. Please support my channel on Venmo, PayPal, and Patreon. Please like and comment on the video. Subscribe to the channel below. Check the link for this guy below with a little arrow down on the right-hand side of your screen in your YouTube app. Thank you very much for watching. Stay warm and stay motivated.